Hey there, Mr. Redder here. Welcome back to another episode of Reddit Podcast Stories, where today, my wife commented about me on a Reddit post, and I don't know if I can get over what she said. Today, I found a post from my wife. Actually, it was a response to a post. The post was, if you could tell your younger self something from 5 years ago, what would it be? My wife's comment was, don't have a second kid and get divorced. It really broke me reading that. I know we're going through a really rough patch. We both aren't perfect, but that's something that just broke me. It's sad because now I feel nothing. I'm not angry, I'm not sad, I'm not resentful. I just feel nothing. What do I do? We're already in marriage counseling and single therapy as well. Reddit should really be anonymous. That's kind of the whole point. If she knew he was on Reddit and she posted it on her main account, then she wanted him to find it. Do you want to get divorced? If so, pull the plug. If not, do the work and fix your marriage. OP, I've been trying for months. She's the one fighting back, saying stuff about how she wants to find herself and explore. But after reading that, I don't know if I want to be with her anymore. That's understandable. That would be a gut punch to read. Maybe tell her that you saw it and go from there. Can't really get much worse. OP, I actually did. I told her that she has a week to change my mind and to pray for a miracle. But I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. I have to worry about my kids too, not just me. It doesn't sound like she wants to be with you if she's not making an effort to stay with you and posted that. I think giving her an ultimatum just speeds up her exit. Or maybe it will wake her up and realize that this isn't what she actually wants. Update. For all of you who are angry that I gave my wife an ultimatum, I should have said that she had already given me an ultimatum 2 months ago. Not going to go into what hers was. So on to what happened. I did confront her, and that night we had a fight. After going back and forth, I finally asked her what she wanted. This is where she broke down and started crying. She said she didn't want to get divorced, and her comment was impulsive, and she regretted it. She was hurt that I was giving her one-worded responses. She texted me because she was lonely and depressed. I told her I was in the bathroom, and I was sorry she felt like I was ignoring her, but I wasn't. So after a lot of talking and forgiving each other, because I'm not perfect either, and we've both made mistakes in the past, we're not going to get divorced. We are going to work on getting better for each other and for our kids. Our first marriage counseling was yesterday, and I have some big issues I need to take care of to be a better husband. She does too. We're not out of the woods yet, but we're heading in the right direction. I gave her an ultimatum because she gave me one 2 months ago that kept changing. First was she needs to see a change in me, and when she did see that change, it morphed into, well, I need to feel a spark in me, or I'm leaving. Should have mentioned that. By exploring, she wanted to date other men. I was her first in everything, and she feels like she missed out on a lot. I think she said what she said out of spite and being impulsive. She was hurt and angry because I was giving her one-word responses. I was in the middle of going to the bathroom when she was texting me. Update. I'm going to show you guys a text conversation, and I want your opinion. Note, this guy started talking to my wife a month ago. This guy is from the UK, and for context, my wife was telling him how she was really tired of not being able to sleep that night and has bags under her eyes. My wife. It's going boring. I have such giant bags under my eyes. I want to collapse into bed, but after… Guy. That sounds so tiring. I want to be chilling. Come and chill with me. My hubs and both kids would be coming with me. I don't know if you'd want all those visitors. Haha, I mean, I'm sure I can make some sacrifices to make you a little happier. Wow, thanks. I mean, I wouldn't do those things, but that doesn't make me delicate. Okay, maybe delicate is the wrong word then. How about gentle? I mean, that's better, but I could totally handle you. I mean, I'm only one rambunctious American. I don't think you could handle 4. I think I could, honestly. Oh, the bravado of youth. I think you underestimate me. OP, shut this down. This guy's a snake. OP. After a talk, she blocked him. This dude is trying to get with your wife. The bigger question is, why is your wife entertaining conversations like this? OP. She's oblivious when guys flirt with her. She thinks that they're just being nice. You haven't answered the question that was asked by several people. What is the nature of the relationship between your wife and this guy who is obviously trying to get with her? How does she know him? OP. She met him as a friend. She likes talking to people from other cultures and parts of the world. They've known each other for a couple of weeks. She only thought of him as a friend. This marriage is a hot mess. I'm exhausted by your marriage, and I don't even know you guys. Imagine being in it. Can't wait for the divorced update with both sides benefiting from it. That story just made me mad. What a bad marriage. Dang. Am I the jerk for telling my son that his girlfriend is taking advantage of him? My son, Lucas, who's 19, has been dating Maya, who's 19, for a year. Just some background. I'm a single mom, and Lucas' dad is extremely wealthy. Just a minor example of this is that his dad owns the entire block that Lucas lives on. Lucas has a job at his dad's company, making close to $200,000 per year while only working 20 hours a week. Maya is not from a well-off family. She's been on her own since she was 16, and she had just had enough to be okay before she met my son. She refused most of my son's help, but she let him do little things, like help pay for her car repairs and better groceries. Then she got pregnant. Apparently, the first couple of months were very rough, so she had to quit her job. Then her car wasn't safe enough for a baby. She had to move in with him. Due to complications, she lost it at 6 months. She was in and out of the hospital for the first month, but it's been over 7 months now, and she still lives with him, doesn't work, and barely contributes with household chores. I tried to tell Lucas during and after the pregnancy that Maya was milking it. I got pregnant with him when I was Maya's age, and I made it just fine on my own. I still worked, went to school, took care of my apartment, and later raised a kid all on my own. I think Maya saw an opportunity to get out of her old living situation and she took it. He's always refused to believe me, and the last time I tried to talk some sense into him, he told me if I can't respect Maya, he won't be in contact with me. It's been 2 weeks, and I'm wondering if I should have kept my mouth shut. Maya has done nothing to indicate that she's just after your son's money and would probably be good for your son, as your son seems to have everything handed to him. You're just projecting your own insecurities on a totally innocent person. You're the jerk. Maybe you're the devil. OP. It's been 7 months. There's no reason for her to not be working or helping around the house. Update. A lot has changed in the past 3 months. First, Maya and Lucas moved. I've seen pictures of their house on social media. It's gorgeous. Shortly after they moved, I saw that they are now engaged. I have not been invited to the wedding. I know some of my family members have been invited, but they're not allowed to tell me where or when the wedding is. Between family and social media, I can tell that they're doing very well. My son is finishing his final semester in college. He did dual enrollment starting from sophomore year and graduated high school a semester early. Maya just started a small business, and they got 2 dogs and some chickens. Maya and Lucas posted a pregnancy announcement today. Maya is 14 weeks pregnant. I called Lucas and left a message congratulating him and asking to meet up. I sent Maya a similar message. As of now, it looks like I will not be involved in my grandkid's life. I'd love to know what other stuff the OP is getting up to, because this reads like son goes no contact very quickly. I expect that he's been having issues with his mom like this for a long time. The new fence. A few years ago, I was building a new fence for a friend of mine. I had to remove the old sections that were falling apart, and when I got to the intersection of his back fence and the next door neighbor's back fence, I carefully separated the neighbor's fence from his and proceeded to carry on removing the side sections that went between their 2 properties. My friend had told me that the side section was 100% on his property and that the previous owner, 30 years ago, had deliberately given the next door neighbor's property an extra foot or so to ensure that he was building on his own property without calling for and paying for a survey. The neighbor, Susan, whom I will refer to as Karen for the rest of this story, came running outside screaming at me that I couldn't remove the side fence and it was their property and just what do I think I'm doing? I responded back very calmly that my friend had just told them well in advance that he was going to replace the fence, that he was just going to build it in the same place as the old one, and asked if they were willing to split the costs, to which they declined. No biggie. Karen started screaming at me again, telling me I had no right to do that and that my friend didn't give them proper notice, and that she didn't realize that there wouldn't be anything between their 2 properties to contain their dog. By now, I'm about ready to lose my mind, so I knocked on my friend's back door to let him know what was going on, and that he needed to go talk to Karen, and that I was leaving because I didn't want to do or say anything I would regret, or cause problems with the neighbors for my friend. The entire project got put on hold, pending a property survey that was going to cost $650, and that they demanded my friend pay half of, despite him telling them that the fence was definitely on his property and nothing was going to change with the new fence, and that he was fine with them continuing to have a foot or so of his property so that he didn't have to rock the boat. Fast forward to the following Monday when the surveyor comes out. Turns out the old side fence was not a little on my friend's property, but almost 10 feet onto his property, and the neighbors had built up raised flower beds and done a nice brick retaining wall right up to the fence line that they had spent a lot of money just in materials for. Never mind the time they spent constructing it. Needless to say, my friend was very pleased with this. For the mere price of $325, he was entitled to expand his yard of more than 30 years by about 800 square feet, and Karen and her husband, who happened to be the polar opposite of his wife in personality and was super nice, spent the next week moving their garden, retaining wall, and all of the dirt that was on my friend's property, so that I could build a fence on his side of the actual property line. Then they hired the cheapest contractors they could find to slap up a fence on their side of the property line. They spent almost as much as my friend did on their new fence. I gave my friend the friends and family discount. 3 years later, the last 20 feet or so of their fence is on the ground already because it was such a bad job and it fell over in a moderate windstorm this past spring. My friend's fence is still standing, rock solid, and his dogs are definitely making good use of the extra 800 square feet. My boyfriend disappeared every weekend for the past 3 years, and I just found out that he's been lying to me about it. My boyfriend, who's 27, male, and I, 24, female, have been together for 3 years. We don't live together, but we're close enough to spend a lot of time together. However, it's very rare for us to spend a whole day together. When we have, it's been a weekday where our schedules have just happened to line up, like no work and no class. We have never spent a day on the weekend together. He works as a research assistant while getting his PhD. Every single weekend for the past 3 years we've been together, he insists he has to work. I realize how stupid I've been now, but foolishly I trusted him. I trusted that he had work every single weekend for 3 years. That was until today. I've been studying for finals, and it's the toughest it's ever been, so I was craving some time with him. Just a day where we could kick back and relax with each other. Of course, he says he can't because he's working, and I shut up about it. So today I'm getting antsy anyway, and hoping we could at least spend the evening together. I end up texting him, asking him when he thinks he'll be back, and we can spend the night. I've done this plenty of times before, and he always responds fairly quickly. This time I'm waiting for a while. After 2 hours, I decide to text a work friend of his who's also a research assistant with him. Wouldn't you know it, it turns out they don't have work today. In fact, he informs me in the same text that they rarely ever have work on the weekends. So now I'm sitting here wondering what's going on. I have no idea how to confront him about this. I mean, this has been going on for 3 years. If he's cheating on me, he basically has a second family at this point. But obviously, that's where my mind goes, and I have no clue what else could be happening. Like, is there any possible explanation for this besides cheating? How in the world do I confront him about something he's been doing for 3 years? Since he's doing whatever it is tomorrow, do I just drive over to his place in the morning and wait and then follow him? Has anyone had anything like this happen to them before? Do you spend any holidays together? Celebrate your birthdays together? Have you met his friends or his parents? Do you give each other gifts? Have you had discussions about living together or the future? So many questions that the answers could give a better understanding of your relationship. At this stage, the final exams are what matters the most, and you should try to focus on that. The future ex is a waste of space, and it sucks you had to find out this way. I hope you don't let him impact your professional future. I'm sending all the wishes of success your way. OP, there are so many examples of men leading double lives where they have 2 families. Guess what reason they used to excuse it? Work. That's the cover-up basically every single time. I know it sounds absolutely insane, bonkers, and impossible. That's because to us sane, decent people, it is. But the people capable of lying and deceiving like this aren't like us, and they take advantage of the knowledge that we can't even fathom such a thing. It helps them get away with their lie and keep it going. Think about it. Really, the only plausible explanation that he's away for work literally every single weekend for 3 years is because he's leading a double life. Only a family life with another woman and kids makes sense for such a long-term, habitual pattern. You've tolerated a relationship for years where you don't even spend an entire day together. To him, you're the perfect side piece since you're willing to tolerate that for so long without questioning it or putting your foot down. You're in denial, and I don't blame you. I would be too initially. You know this smells fishy, and it is. Knowing myself, I would get crafty and find a way to discover the truth, get proof, and let the other woman know. Best of luck to you. So many examples of men leading double lives? Gee, maybe you should stop going for the guys who will lie to you and cheat on you. But all guys do that. Yeah, all the ones who look like Brad Pitt. Maybe start giving average-looking dudes a chance. Chill guys who like video games and don't go to the gym every day. Stop friend zoning us and seeing us as brothers and actually try having a relationship with us. Edit. Call me a nice guy all you want. Every girl that's ever turned me down has gone on to date guys that treated her horribly. Then she'd complain to me about it because we're still friends and expect me to listen to it and help her feel better. As soon as I mention that if she were with me, I would never treat you like this, she gets mad, starts ignoring me. Every time. Don't you just love when Reddit commenters go on these long rants about their own lives and it has nothing to do with the story? Am I the jerk for telling my stepmom she's pathetic and doesn't get to boss my mom around? My parents divorced when I, 15 male, was 5 and my sister was 3. For a while, during and post-divorce, my dad was trying really hard to win my mom back. I remember he would use how upset my sister and I were about the divorce. For me, it was hard to go from our family being together to 2 separate homes and families. For my sister, the upheaval was hard for her. She really couldn't get used to bouncing from home to home. Throughout all of that, Mom did her best to shield us, and even though she must have hated my dad's guts for all the stunts he pulled, she kept some photos of him and our family from before up in the house. My sister and I felt reassured seeing them. Even though she didn't remember those times, I think it made her feel a little more okay with how confusing it was, and Dad only made it worse. Dad gave up on them getting back together eventually, and he insisted that everything we had at his house be from him and not Mom, and we could not have photos of Mom in the home. I was 8 when he met my stepmom. I'm not sure how soon she found out that Mom still had photos up of before it became a huge deal for her, and she told my mom she was not allowed to have photos of her man up in the house. My mom remarried when I was 10. We have a few photos of my stepdad's ex-wife at home, and some from when he was married to her and my step-siblings were young. This is especially important to them because their mom is terminally ill with a condition that made her unable to take care of them. I think it's something to do with her brain. There are still photos of Dad at Mom's too. I'm less into it now that I feel worse about what Dad did, but my sister still feels comforted by them, and Mom always says he is still our dad and our family, and she wants it to be as much our home as it is everyone else's who lives there. The wall where these photos are is where Mom takes a lot of our back-to-school photos. My stepmom found out they were still up and went nuts on my mom a few months ago. She told Mom she had to do what she says, etc. It was insane. My mom told her to mind her business, and if she stays out of her house, she doesn't have to see them or worry about them. My stepmom went on a rant about Mom a few days ago, and she was like, "How dare your mom not do what I tell her and take the photos of my husband down?" I told my stepmom she's pathetic for being so bothered that my mom was a good enough mom to accept photos of Dad for our sake and that she doesn't get to boss my mom around. I also told her to leave my mom alone because none of this had anything to do with her. She told me I did not get to speak to her that way. I told her if she thinks she's earning my respect with her crap, then she's even more pathetic than I thought. It's been a rough few days. My dad and stepmom both say I was beyond disrespectful. Am I the jerk? Something tells me that your dad is not the nicest person in the world based on your post. Your mom clearly isn't interested in winning him back and just wanted to give you and your sister some comfort when you were younger. Just like having photos of your mom's husband's ex-wife makes your step-siblings feel better, especially given that their mom is terminal. Your mom sounds like a very secure and kind person who just wants the best for her biological and her stepkids. Your stepmother, on the other hand, not the jerk. Karen stole my cat, so I stole her back. I got Pebbles from a humane society when she was 2 months old. I love her with my whole heart. She's now 5 years old, soon to be 6. 14 months ago, I had to move to an apartment that didn't allow pets in the contract. I had no choice but to rehome Pebbles, and I was heartbroken. But my grandma ended up taking her from me, so it wasn't so bad, because I could visit Pebbles anytime. She was safe in a house, all indoors, and well taken care of. 3 months ago, Grandma passed. And of course, that was hard enough. But on top of that, Pebbles got grabbed without anyone's consulting me and brought to my uncle and aunt's house to live. They put her outside with their other farm cats. I drove out on my day off to see her, and she was looking scared and bedraggled. But they insisted that she was fine. I went home heartbroken and I was angry. Recently, I was able to move into a better apartment that's pet-friendly with a roommate. I asked if I could have Pebbles back, but my aunt said no, that my cousins, who are 15 and 18, have grown attached. But frankly, oh well. So I said, fine, okay. Then last week during work hours, I took off on my lunch break, drove to the farm while they were at work and school, found Pebbles, put her in my car, and drove home to my new apartment. It took them 2 days to even figure out that she was gone. Then, of course, my aunt called me and asked if I had taken Pebbles. I said yes. She started to yell, so I just said, "She's my cat," and I gave her to Grandma for a while, not you, and then I hung up. I think I'm legally in the clear here because I took Pebbles back to the vet I took her to her whole life for a checkup, got her papers up to date, got her microchipped, and put her in my name. But my parents called me and told me that they were disappointed in me, that it was immature to steal Pebbles, and that the girls are apparently heartbroken. I'm sorry my cousins are sad, but I would do it again. Pebbles is my cat, and they weren't taking care of her correctly. I never wanted to give her up anyway. If I'm the jerk, that's fine. Not the jerk. Sounds more like you rescued your cat to me. Yes, putting a cat that's grown up indoors outdoors with other cats who are used to being outdoors is cruel. Cats are territorial and were probably quite hard on your cat. Not to mention that outdoor cats have a significantly shorter life expectancy than an indoor cat. OP did the right thing. She rescued Pebbles, and getting her chipped and vetted right away was exactly the right move. OP, I'm so glad you have your kitty back. Not the jerk. Am I the jerk for taking money from my wife's account to pay for my computer that she broke? My wife is a stay-at-home mom. She works hard taking care of our kids and maintaining our home. I do what we have agreed is a fair portion of the housework and all of the yard work. She has full access to all of our accounts except for my personal spending account. I put the exact same amount into her personal spending account, but I can only deposit, not withdraw. I have a home office, but I don't work from home. It's just a place I can go to sit and catch up on anything I might need to work from home on, and also play video games or play with my toys. My wife also has a room that's dedicated to her and her hobbies. I've asked her multiple times to please leave my room alone. I clean it myself, I take my dishes to the kitchen, and either wash them or place them in the dishwasher. I take out my own trash. When I play with my kids in my office, I clean up after all of us. When my wife joins me in my office for video games, I clean up afterwards. There's quite literally no reason for her to do anything in there when I am not in it. I do not have a lock on my door, but I do have my laptop password protected. I like to line up some of my collection of Lego minifigures by my screen on my laptop. I like to imagine that Batman and Spider-Man are watching me work. I know it's silly, but I like it. For some reason, my wife decided to go clean my office. I guess she needed to move my laptop, so she closed it. Not all the way, because my minifigures were in the way. When I came home, she told me what had happened. The screen was not working at all. I had to get my old monitor out and hook it up so I could check and see if anything else was busted. It was just the screen. I checked, and it would cost about $250 for parts and labor to replace my screen. So I decided to replace the laptop and use the old one with my old monitor for the kids. It was fine other than the non-working screen. The cost to replace my laptop was only $600. Yay, Black Friday. So I took $350 from my account, and I took $250 from the money I was going to deposit into her personal account for December, and I got my new computer. This will in no way affect our budget for anything other than our own personal side projects and hobbies. I was looking forward to getting myself a new Lego set to work on with my kids over the holidays, but now I will have to rebuild one of my old ones with them, which is also fun. Well, now she's upset at me because she has to cut back on her fun stuff for December. She likes to have a spa day with her mom, for example. I said that I wasn't responsible for my computer being broken and that she 100% was. She said it was an accident and that I should forgive her. I said I wasn't upset, but that if she felt I should forgive her, then I fully forgive her, but she still has to help me pay for a new laptop. Am I the jerk? I did not just take her money. We talked about it first. She is still upset that I expect her to take responsibility. I did not make an unfair decision. We do not work that way. I think you are a bit of a jerk. She's a stay-at-home parent. She does not earn money that can be saved up for things like spa days with her mother. She relies on those funds that are budgeted for personal fun. It feels to me like you're treating her like a kid. How would you feel if you accidentally broke something she valued and she insisted you pay for it? If she had broken it intentionally, it would be one thing, but it was an accident and she was trying to be helpful by cleaning your office. It really does sound like a jerk move to me. You're the jerk. You sound like you're punishing a kid by withholding their allowance, not talking with your wife. Grow up. Stuff happens. You're in a marriage and a partnership. Don't pretend you didn't take her money and aren't a jerk. That's exactly what you are. You didn't talk about it and mutually agree. She clearly does not agree. At best, you bullied her into giving into your childish and petty demands. Enjoy those Legos. They're going to cost you way more than a few $100. You're the jerk. Stop treating your wife like a kid. What on earth? If losing $250 is not going to affect your life, then what's the point of treating your wife like this? Like honestly, this seems like a misuse of power. I'd bet money that losing $250 means more to your wife than it does to you. Just wow. Sometimes people can be so trash. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or his wife? Please let us know. New job, bait and switch. I worked for a national home improvement store, the blue one. When I interviewed, I applied for the sales position in plumbing. No longer exists. It was Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, with a commission program. Since I had years of plumbing experience, I was offered the job. The day I started, I was told the sales job went to an internal promotion. Only thing they could offer me was part-time, lower hourly rate, no commission, had to work alternating weekends. I was young and had a new baby, so I said sure, as long as I could go full-time in a few months with weekends off. My manager agreed. Fast forward 3 months. Not a word has been said. The guy who got the sales job, an electrician, asked me questions about plumbing all day. I asked my department manager about full-time, a sales job, anything. Sorry, nothing available. I reminded him of what I was hired for, the schedule I was promised, the pay I was originally offered. DM, if you don't like it, look for another job. Jobs at the time were hard to come by, but a job that was available, in that store even, was a stocking job. This position was always available as the pay wasn't great and it was a lot of physical work. But the hours were Monday through Friday full-time, so I applied for that. When I interviewed, my manager found out. He went to HR to stop me from transferring. I informed HR that if the position didn't get filled and I was excluded from transferring, I would filter a complaint. So I got the job. Fast forward 2 months and the quarter ends. No actual plumber in the department meant sales dropped, so manager didn't get his bonus. He now begs me to come back. No thanks, I'm making more money on Saturday doing side jobs than I made Monday through Friday. So he asks, what can I do to get you back in plumbing? I give him a ridiculous price. He laughs and says, that's more than I make. Oh well. Fast forward 3 more months, store manager doesn't get her bonus because plumbing hasn't made budget in 2 quarters in a row. Time to fix the problem. I get called into a meeting with store manager and department manager. Store manager, what will it take to get you back in plumbing? Me, stupid salary. DM, I told you, not reasonable. Store manager, give us a minute, please. I stand up to leave and store manager, oh no, I'm sorry. I meant department manager should leave. Department manager, surprised Pikachu face. Store manager, if I pay you that, you'll have to work weekends. We're busiest on weekends. Me, I'll do Saturday, with every Sunday and Monday off. No rotating days off like before. I get my commission back. Store manager, done. You cannot talk about your rate. I'm the only person in the store making more than this. Me, well, I can, but I won't. The look on department manager's face when we came out was priceless. If he had only given me the job I was hired for originally. But I am the manager. I'm the AGM at a recently opened hotel in my city. I wear the fancy suit, have the fancy name tag, it's magnetic, and definitely don't look like a guest staying there. But I'm also the only member of the team who wears a suit over a generic uniform. We had a woman, I'm estimating mid to late 60s, come in and was snooping around, so needless to say, I approached to ask if I could help her. She said she was just wanting to see the pool. I explained that our pool is closed and still under construction. The door next to the pool itself is blocked off with a coming soon sign. Lady, I saw that online, but I just wanted to see it. You know how sometimes things say one thing online and another in person? Hotels really don't keep up on that stuff. Me, I'm aware that this is sometimes the case, but I assure you, madam, the pool is closed and still under construction. We are excited and hopeful to see it open in January. Lady, is there someone I can talk to? I really want to take my granddaughter here over Christmas to use the pool. Me, I'm the AGM here actually. And unfortunately, as I said, the pool isn't expected to be open until the new year. There literally, physically, is no pool right now. Lady goes up to the FDA and asks about the pool and booking to use it over Christmas. FDA says, slightly confused, "As my manager," gestures to me, explained, "the pool won't be open." Lady looks back at me, then back at FDA. "Is there a manager I can speak to?" Again, my name tag literally says manager in fun bold letters. Me. "Madam, I am the assistant general manager, and in fact, the current acting general manager." The actual general manager was away aiding with another property opening. Lady looks at the FDA. "I just don't understand. Why can't I speak to the manager?" Me and FDA exchange a confused look. Me. "Madam, I assure you, I am the only manager on the property." Lady. "I can't believe this. I want to speak to a manager." Me again. "I am the manager." "I said I want to speak to the manager." Me again, more forcefully. "Madam, I am the manager. I'm the one you want to speak to." Lady turns to front desk agent. "Call the manager right now. This service is so unacceptable. I just want to bring my granddaughter to use the pool over Christmas." Me. "Madam, again, I am the manager. And as I've repeatedly told you, we do not have a pool that will be available over Christmas. There is no pool." Lady gets angrier. "Why didn't you just say that? It says you have a pool online. This is not acceptable. I'm going to speak to the manager and get you all fired." Me. At this point, I'm Ryle Reynolds done with this. "Sure, please do. I'll be more than happy to fire myself, then collect severance for unlawful termination. It will make for a great Christmas bonus. I'll take my wife and kid to Fiji." Lady, red in the face. "Your manager will hear from me. How dare you ruin my granddaughter's Christmas? I'll make sure to tell everyone you won't let anyone use your pool." The lady then stormed out. I recognize the lady may be in her early stages of something serious, but in the entire interaction, she was very clear-minded. I don't think I've ever had anyone so forcefully deny my existence like this before. Am I the jerk for watching TV while my daughter eats dinner? I have a 2-year-old daughter. Most days, my wife feeds her breakfast, I feed her dinner. She mostly feeds herself, but we watch her to make sure she doesn't spill stuff all over or if she has any requests. I love my daughter. I would like that to be clear. She's my favorite person in the world. I spend a ton of time every day horsing around with her, teaching her letters and numbers, reading books. I put her to bed every other night, brush her teeth, etc. I spend a lot of quality time with her in my opinion. However, she is very boring to watch eat. It takes her about 30 minutes, what amounts to maybe 1.5 cups of food, and drink her milk. She spends about half the time playing with her fork, singing the alphabet, or blathering nonsense. We are also trying to be mindful of using electronics around or in front of her. In particular, no phones at the dinner table. About a week ago, I was preparing dinner with my AirPods in and realized that I could continue listening to music and podcasts while I was watching her eat, to make it at least a little more interesting. The other day, I decided to stick my phone in the napkin holder on the table so my daughter couldn't see it and watch Netflix. I thought this was genius. I only have one AirPod in, so I can still hear everything she says. I still am keeping an eye on her. I'm still sitting in front of her, looking in her general direction, but I'm watching TV. Now, instead of dreading dinner time, I'm fine with it. Anyway, yesterday my wife came home with my mother-in-law and caught me watching TV. When she came in, I pointed to the AirPod, then to the phone, and gave a thumbs up, thinking she too would think I'm a genius. Well, my wife's not happy. I'm not sure if it's her or it's her mom, who was really not happy, but she thinks I should be spending that time with my daughter. I think I am. I think my daughter is completely unaware that I'm watching TV, so no harm, no foul. Am I the jerk? You're the jerk, slightly. Dinner time shouldn't be essentially a solitary experience where you're at the table with family. At 2, not everything she says is blathering nonsense. Most parents would use this time with the kid to encourage discussion about the food, about the day, whatever. It's not too young to teach her about socializing over a meal. And we're talking about half an hour for you. Make an effort here. I kind of sympathize with OP, but this is what you signed up for when you have a kid. Perhaps something more interactive could help. Like, for example, if you feel bored watching her eat, maybe you can read both of you guys a story while she eats. That way it's more of an interactive experience and you won't be too bored. Maybe you can make up a story yourself and tell it, etc. Talk to your kid while they're eating. Open up a conversation, albeit mostly one-sided. Show interest in your kid. Quality time. You're the jerk. Your daughter is interacting, watching your facial expressions, talking to you, and eating. Yes, it is the most boring thing ever, but your being part of it is important for her development. Not the jerk at all. Single mom of a 2.5-year-old. Having her chatter to herself while eating is completely normal, and she would be doing the exact same thing if she was at nursery. If you're spending quality time with her during the day, you've met her needs, and for that period of time, you can meet your own. These comments are absolutely absurd. I spend all day either caring for my little one or at work. When it gets to dinner time is the only time I can get some uninterrupted studying time. Some people think dinner time is the most sacred thing in the world because they spend so much time away from their family for the majority of the day, but for many, it can be the opposite. You're the jerk for making a post and then arguing with everyone because you don't like the judgment. Meal times are great times to interact with your kid. And yes, I do realize they go on about all kinds of nonsense. I have a 2.5-year-old who plays really well independently, but there are certain times where giving them your attention matters. Well, what do you think? Is OP the jerk or not? Please let us know. Do this next. Tap here on your screen to come see our new podcast playlist, where you'll find thousands of hours of the best stories you've ever heard. Or tap the one on the right. That episode is specifically just for you, based on other videos you've enjoyed the most.